Hey, welcome to Your Best Podcast. My name is Teemaree and I'm your best life coach. It is my joy to be with you right here and now, delivering different delicious tidbits for you to have your best in life. This episode is going to be all about authenticity in business. Ooh, honey, let me just tell you how important it is to be authentic. I know that feels like a buzzword these days, right? So, like authenticity, being authentic, what does that even mean? And why does it matter in business? And how does it apply for your business? So, listen, I know a lot of our listeners here are they're self-employed, they're entrepreneurs, they're solopreneurs, they're vendors, they're consultants, they're coaches, they are people that are multi-hyphenates doing a number of things. Maybe they work and they also have their own side hustle. So which one are you? This episode is all about how to really be totally yourself and also totally winning in your business. And woohoo, it's going to be absolutely great. So definitely make yourself comfortable. Just kick back, relax. If you're working right now, if you're driving right now, just settle in, honey, because we are about to get into it in a great, powerful way, as you know, we always do. So, look, what does it even mean to be authentic and why are we talking about this today? So, I've had the great opportunity of being from Los Angeles, California, and living in Los Angeles, California, and then now being in Detroit, Michigan, and living in Detroit, Michigan. And what's really cool about that is that those are two totally opposite sides of the United States. They're totally different vibes. One's really southern, one's, more on the northern side of the country. And there's just different vibes in terms of the city, the pulse, the energy, right? And it's been so dope, just really, really cool to be able to, be in the mix of what's happening in Detroit, what's happening with the phenomenal, fantastic small business owners, the powerful women that are doing things out here. It is amazing. It is amazing to see all these wonderful things happening. And then in LA, it's this giant hub of all kinds of things, predominantly entertainment. And so there's just all these creatives that are also in their own way, even though they work for productions and work on productions, they're in business for themselves. They got to get themselves that next gig. They got to, they come from other places in the country or even the world to make this happen. So I've had this great opportunity, right, to be able to kind of look at what it means to be authentic, what it means to really be authentic and what that is in business and in life, right? So in LA, as an actor, as a model, as a DJ, as someone that's doing, making music, right? Depending on which of those artist lanes that you're in, yeah, sometimes you get to play a character and you get to bring something else to life, but there's always that essence of you. There's always a truth that needs to run through that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of there's this cool thing that's happening where maybe you're going on auditions, or maybe you're writing a song, or maybe you're bringing your artistry, your painting, your graphic arts, your graffiti, whatever you're using, right? Or as a model, you're posing for pictures and you're walking the catwalk, you're doing these things, but there's an essence of you that you're bringing to the table. There's an essence of whatever truth that is coming through you that you're bringing to the table, right? And so it's this really cool thing to see of how you're able to work on being authentic, being truly you. So in the audition, being truly you, not a phony, not a fake, not insecure, not too cocky, where you're just being a human being and you're coming into audition and you're, introducing yourself and you're and then you just get into the scene. And now you're bringing what's true to the character to life in the scene. Same thing with music, right? So like, you're writing a song and all this stuff and you're performing it, but what's the truth of that song? What are you saying in the music, right? So there's this cool, funky thing that's happening. And then you come over to Michigan and you come over to Detroit, and it's like the whole city is just such a dope mix of like art and resilience and grit and creativity and intelligence and just this really awesome energy that mixes both, determination and assuredness and creativity and problem solving and community with also just like this honesty of, where they've been as a collective, like with what's happened in Detroit's history and what's made them, and them being a huge immigrant melting pot, and just all these cool, amazing things that then bring a real truth. And the way women are doing business out here is just so dope. It's like very, very cool and honest. And there's a lot of real ownership that's happening that I just absolutely love. I love to see it. And I'm so, so honored and so grateful to be a part of it. So being authentic has different tones to it, but ultimately it's how we can be fully ourselves in our business. And it's really, really key because if you think about it, like our business is really about serving others in some way, providing something for someone else. It's about answering or solving a problem. It's about, putting things out there that people are going to need because it's solving something, it's helping in some way, right? And it's important that we have an honesty that comes through to that. That, we look now at these bigger companies, right? And they're like these giant machines, right? Like Apple is a far, far, far cry at this point from when Steve Jobs and Wozniak started Apple in the garage, like it's a far cry from that. Like now they're this huge world brand and corporation. And so we have that kind of going on. We have Amazon, we have Microsoft, we have Disney, we have these large corporations that are far from that initial seedling. But ultimately, every business really succeeds when there's truth in it. And so we want to know about authenticity in business because right now there's a lot of things that can tempt us to not be authentic, like at all. And I really want to speak to that because when I provide business coaching, right, that's part of really what made me decide to start providing business coaching. I've been very clear in the past, like just like with doctors and just like with, anything. I say doctors because it's really easy with doctors to say, oh yeah, that's my general practitioner. Oh yeah, that's my physician's assistant. Oh yeah, that's the nurse. Oh yeah, so it's really easy for us to kind of in the medical world be able to understand that there's different specialties for whatever it is we need, right? That's the gynecologist, that's the radiologist, etc. But the same is true when it comes to coaching, when it comes to business coaching, right? So like one business coach may be able to help you really well with your marketing. Like that's what they can do. They're there to help you know how to market your business. And one coach might be able to help you to refine the way you sell. And another coach may be able to help you with your systems. When I help businesses and business owners by coaching them, what I help them to do is be authentic with their business, identify what is going on, like what their needs are, and make some changes so that they can maximize their time and maximize their freedom while maximizing their results. So it's kind of like I'm coming in to help them organize what's happening in their business, set themselves up for greater success, and really kind of identify what is true for them. Are they being clear with their message? Do they even know what their message or their brand is, so to speak, right? And so it really got me thinking because, as I've been moving around this whole business world with the things that I've done as an author, opening my own coaching practice like full time instead of just kind of helping people on the side, while I'm doing other work. It's like it's been a whirlwind. It's been a whirlwind. And so it immediately became clear of like how many pitfalls there are for us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, as people with side hustles where, how do you stay authentic, especially when you're trying to succeed, right? So I'll give you some examples. Like, I remember one time going to Idlewild, right? And Idlewild is this nice, cute little like mountain town. It's in California. And when you go there, it's really, really charming, right? But it's super surprising because they don't have a lot of businesses because it's small. And depending on when you go, like the day and time, it's very likely that quite a few of the businesses will be closed, right? And so it's like, whoa, I'm used to in LA, everything's open. It's not as around the clock as New York, but everything's really kind of open and you always have access, right? So unless it's like between the hours of 2 a.m. and like 6 a.m., most likely you're going to find stuff that's open and you're going to find a way to like contact that business or kind of reach out or make your request or whatever, place an order. So here we are in Idlewild checking things out. And I'm like, so many of these businesses are closed. Like, what's up with that? Well, it turns out like in this small, wonderful alpine town, the business owners there are like, we don't want to be open all the time. Like we call the shots. This is what we do. And look, they don't do it all as a collective. It's not like on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. everything shuts down. It's like different stores do their own thing. So that's a level of authenticity that many of us might feel pressure like we can't do that, right? So how many of us feel like, oh yeah, like I would want to take the weekends off, but if I want to succeed in my business, I can't. Right? Or, oh, like I would love to just close down and take a long lunch, but no way, like I have to be open. That's the middle of the day or whatever. Right? So we get caught into these things, these pressures, these ideas that then cause us to move away from what might be true for us. And so authenticity is owning what is true for us. And authenticity in business is finding ways to own what is true for us while we are still wanting to have this business that solves problems and that helps people in some way and that provides the service and the products and all that stuff, right? So, business is filled with all kinds of times where we're going to need to make some tough decisions. But being authentic with what's true for us, oh man, it has so many benefits. And so it really got me turned on to talk about this subject because it really has been something I've personally lived as I've navigated, business ownership and entrepreneurship and like what those choices might mean and the different temptations that we have and what comes up. And as I've helped people as well in deciding what to do next and what they really want to do and kind of saying, hey, but this is like the goal. And this is why you're in business in the first place. And really kind of thinking from things from that perspective, right? So it's crazy because what I'm seeing, for example, right, is like first of all, there has to be this sensation of like, what is true? Like, what is true for you? Just like the folks in Idlewild, the different business owners there that are saying, well, hey, like I want to maybe have the afternoons off, or hey, maybe these 2 days in the week, during the week I close, whatever. excuse me, what is true for you as a business owner? Like, why did you get into this business in the first place? What are some values that you have that are really meaningful to you? Right. So that's like key one. And then it's, well, how, as a business owner, do you stay true to those values and still be successful in your business? It's a lot of different navigation points, but authenticity in business opens up all these doors because what ends up happening is it's like, hey, so there's a woman that I know that's just incredible. She is a connector. She is beautiful and she's smart and she has a thriving business. And she has all kinds of things associated with that business. But she also makes it very clear, like some of the things that are different about her business that are special to her is like, you have to text her to book with her. That's the only way that it happens. She doesn't allow it to be online. She doesn't have it where, you text her when you want to make an appointment. She had a personal, wonderful, happening. And she took the time off and was like, okay, I'm going to be gone for these 2 weeks. And that's what it is. These things seem so far out when we don't know who we are and what is important to us, right? But when we're aware of what is important to us and we're making decisions for our business, then what's cool is magic happens. So not only do we get to stand more and more in what was important for us in the first place, but we also then attract people that get it. We attract the people that we're meant to serve. So I'll give you a few examples. So like in my coaching practice, 4 years before the pandemic, like I was very focused on providing services online. I knew that for me, and what was important for me for various reasons, was to provide my coaching sessions via phone, Zoom, online, so that a number of things. So some of the value points for me choosing that were, number one, it's always been very important to me to be as available for my coaching clients as possible. And here's what I mean by that. I don't mean I'm available like you call me whenever you want, right? What I mean by available is I understand what it's like for adults to be really, really overwhelmed with their responsibilities. Maybe they have kids or they're taking care of their parents or they are working multiple jobs or they're working a job and they're going to school or they have all these kind of external things happening. And so maybe they can't attend a traditional session that's between 9 and 3 during the day at an office, at a practice, right? So I knew I wanted to serve those people. Those are my people. My people are the go-getters that have a ton of stuff on their plate and they just want to get better. They want to have better in their lives. They're ready for the support, but they have different circumstances than everybody else. Right? So I was like, those are my people and I want to help them. So that had me decide right away. I was like, no, I'm not opening up a brick and mortar practice that's geographically bound. I knew that I needed to create something where people can reach me wherever they're at. And that also coincides with my own life value because sometimes I'm on the West Coast, sometimes I'm on the East Coast, and I want to be able to do what I do from wherever I'm at. And so, like, see how that awareness then starts to kind of shape how the business can go forward. And so, what's really cool about that is that, yeah, then we start to see those pockets of what we can do. But here's the thing, then temptation comes into play, right? So before the pandemic, there were a lot of folks who still, I mean, look, all of us pretty much knew about Zoom and we were using technology, we were using FaceTime. It's not like the pandemic invented those things. But before the pandemic, a lot of people still were really like mostly in person, especially for services like that. The pandemic really kind of made the world view technology as a connector in a more serious way, just because we were all on lockdown. So up to that point, it was like, okay, like this is something that I'm rolling out and is important to me for multiple reasons. And I know why I'm doing this. That's authentic for me. It's authentic for the way I want my business to serve, etc. But there are some challenges, right? Because not everybody's really into it yet. Then the pandemic happens and we all are on that, realization of being able to use like Zoom and everything. But then after the pandemic, everyone is like, I'm out. I want to go outside now. I want to be with people face to face now. And so then here comes another temptation to want to change what's true for me as a business owner. And here's the thing, being authentic in our business doesn't mean being rigid, but there are certain things that all of us that have businesses or have even dreams for a business that all of us know we need, period. Either because that's why we came into it in the first place, or because we really need that to provide the service that we are there to provide. So for example, if you have a side hustle, right? And your side hustle, whatever it is, it's a side hustle because you have something else you have to do the bulk of your time, right? So you need for that side hustle to happen when it happens so that you can be doing the other thing, right? It's something that is authentic to you. It's authentic to how you're serving, right? So same thing. If you are a baker and you make cupcakes and you make cakes and you make cake pops, it's authentic for you to do that. So maybe, someone might place an order and that day they're hungry and they're like, man, I wish you were like those donut shops that sell burgers too. That's not authentic to you, right? So authenticity is key for a bunch of things because it seems like it's so obvious, but in this day and age, it can be very challenging to remember what's true for us. There are, like that example, the customers who may have customers, family members, everyone has ideas of what you should do or what you could do, or they get excited because they like something and they say, oh, well, why don't you do this or do that? Or what if you did this? So that's one of the things that comes across our desk, so to speak, that we have to consider and be able to remain true to what is true to us. Another thing as a business owner that happens is there are also things that trend, just like the example I just gave about the technology, right? So we've seen already a trend of it's not that popular, then a trend everyone's doing it, then a trend like it's not really popular again because we're swinging back potentially to wanting to be more in person, right? So we see these big trends and there's this desire to, oh man, are we missing the boat if we don't change toward a trend? So those lend to us being maybe fearful or doubtful, wondering, how much should we hold on to? How much should we change? Maybe what is authentic to us is just not like popular or it's not going to be successful. All of these things cause us to then have doubts and fears. Sometimes it causes business owners that I've worked with to make changes they don't need to make. And I've even fallen prey to that in the past before too. So, there are all these temptations where, maybe you're thinking, oh, if I continue doing what's important to me, the business won't succeed. Or, oh, what's important to me and what's authentic to me isn't necessarily popular anymore, or isn't really popular right now. Are people going to get it? Or maybe what's authentic to me in terms of like scheduling, or where I want to place my business, or how I want to serve people. Maybe I'm leaving money on the table if I do that. These are all fears that creep in. But authenticity on business is really cool because it's so freeing. As we start to navigate doing business from a really true place inside of us, then things become really clear. And we sway less. It feels more calm. It feels more sure. It feels more honest. It feels more relaxed. It feels more fun because we're also doing things that we want to do that are important to us in ways and in places that we actually want to live and want to be. So, what's happening for you? And this authenticity question can really reach into our lives as well, right? But especially in business, when there are all these temptations, people want different things. Trends have changed. Marketing says to do this or do that. There are new methods that get introduced that may be cheaper, right? Well, how do we overcome that? I like to help my clients by sharing with them a number of things. Some of the things are remembering what's true. Sometimes we change, right? That's reality. But oftentimes, there's a truth. Like for me, there is a truth about wanting to make sure that I have coaching available to that person that might need to access the session late at night, that may need to access that session early in the morning before they go to work or before they drop their kids off at school, at a time where I know I'm not going to be delivering it to them personally, but they've got it. They've got access to that, right? That's important to me. That's important to me to help that person and to set my stuff up in a way where I'm solving that problem, where I'm able to provide that, right? That is true for me. So it's like, what's true for you? Another thing that's true for me, it is so important for me with All's Well Lifestyle, which is my affirmative apparel and home goods line, right? That shop and those goods, the way that they are produced and the way that they are distributed is important to me because it's a choice that reduces waste for the planet, that reduces waste of human resources. That's important to me, right? So what's important to you? What's true for you in your business, in your side hustle, in your consulting or coaching business? What is true for you? I've met some wonderful people who what's true for them is very much in person because they want to maybe work a certain amount of time and that's when it works for them. Or they want to have a brick and mortar place where people come. Or, there are these different things, these values, these emotional poles, the people we want to serve. What is true for you? And remembering that whatever comes across our path is like, yeah, we can take a look. But if we remember what's true for us, then we're able to move forward. There's another powerful woman. She's just amazing. She does a number of things, right? And she was recently just so honest on her Instagram. She was like, people have been asking me why, I'm not out modeling as much. And she was like, just straight up, because like, it's time for me to get gigs that pay. Like, period. I love spending the time. I love doing the projects, but like at this point, like you got to pay me to have me out there modeling for you. And it's so cool to be just so authentic. There's a lot of times where folks might be afraid to admit that, but the fact that she was doing two really cool things. She was admitting that, hey, like the freebies are done, which meaning she was doing freebies, but then also she was taking a stand for herself and saying like, look, this isn't like authentic to me. Like, I'm ready now. I don't have the time. I don't have the space to be dealing with folks that aren't going to pay me. So yeah, if you're not seeing me as much, that's why. And it's like this really cool ownership of like what is true and what is happening and really just saying the stuff. Sometimes you're going to look crazy. Like recently, oh my gosh, I did not care. Okay. I was like, look, I give no. And here's what it was. So I've been meeting a lot of really phenomenal women, like I've been saying to you, out here in Detroit, business owners, healers, like just really cool, amazing, strong, entrepreneurial, successful women. And it's been so cool. And like, let me tell you when I'm going to be cool. I will be cool when I'm dead. When I'm dead and it's all cold, that's when I'm going to be cool. Because right now, like I don't care. Like I don't care about playing the games. If I like you, if I want to get to know you, if I want to connect with you, like I'm going to say it. I don't care if we just met. If I get a vibe, like that's how I am. Right? So that's what's true for me, and how it resonates in my business is like straight up. I'm just like, hey, like I heard you're amazing. I think we could connect on this level. Like, what's up? Do you want to connect? Like, and that I find is not common. I think that there are a lot of folks that still play games around like meeting and just being straight up and saying, yo, I like you, want to connect? Let's do this thing. And so authenticity in business, sometimes it's being vulnerable, like the example I gave, and just being honest about like, yo, I haven't sold, or yo, people aren't paying me, so I'm not going to be doing this that much. Or yo, there was another woman that I know that she's just like, yo, I'm closing down my shop. She opened a brick and mortar shop and she's like, I'm closing it down. It's too much. Like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Right. I'll still have the online stuff, but I'm done. And like being able to own that is really cool. So sometimes it's owning the actuality of what's happening. Oftentimes it's owning what is true for us, what got us into the business we are currently in. Who do we want to serve? Why do we want to do this? And remembering that when we get all the temptations to sell out, to change the way we do things, to, another big thing that I do that is wild, right? But my spiritual coaching is free. Woohoo! My spiritual coaching program is absolutely free. And that's because I've been in a huge conflict around charging for that. And I've had people on both sides. Some people will be like, oh, okay, like, no, dude, like you can totally charge for that. Like you're helping people. It's a service. Like you've paid so much money for all the different licenses and all the different certifications you have. And like, dude, it's worth something, But for me, in my heart, I feel a conflict around charging for spiritual coaching. So at first, because of the temptations and not wanting to be a bad businesswoman, I did charge. And I just felt a conflict around it. Because what's true for me is like when it comes to that, when it comes to helping people connect with like God and feel and release the burdens of why they feel separate from God and all that stuff, like that's free. Like I that's free. God's got me. God's going to take care of me in other ways. Like I don't need to charge for that because it's free. So I finally was just like, no, dude, this is free. Like I might sound crazy. It might seem silly to like have a coaching program that's for free, but like I do that, right? So we need to know like what is true for us because there are certain things that are very true for us in our value system, in our heart, and who we want to serve and why we're doing what we're doing. And so we're going to have temptations to not do that, right? So we want to be true. We want to be able to know what's true. Sometimes it's, like I said before, being vulnerable, expressing what's happening. And sometimes it's in not playing games. Like straight up, if you want to meet somebody, if you want something to be done, you got to get out there, honey. You got to get out there. You got to not play games. You got to not be too cool for school. You got to reach out. You got to say, hey, I need help. I have a question. I like you. I want to connect. What's up? You know what I'm saying? So authenticity in business opens up this fantastic, fun, amazing, rewarding, purposeful, true place of being. And it helps to unlock the dream, the reason why we even got into business for ourselves in the first place. Each and every person under the sound of my voice that had a desire to start a business for themselves wanted, amongst everything else, to be free. To be free of the BS, to be free of the drama, to be free of feeling held back. There is an aspect of freedom, right? To be free of doing things the way other people want you to do them. And so when we are authentic, when we are like, yeah, this is why I do what I do. This is what I love. This is who I want to serve. This is what is important to me. This is where my values lie. Then we're free. Then we're free. And it's awesome. So how can you, right? How can you be more authentic, be more yourself, be more in alignment with what is true for you? How can you do that in your business? What are some ideas that you have? And if you're ready to reach out, to get some help, to have someone on your side that says, hey, this is what is true. Help me be accountable. Help me figure out ways to do this. Let me be clear. Let me organize my business, my systems. Let me get more time, more freedom, and more success. I am here for you, honey. My business coaching is on point, is here for you. And like I said before, it will be available to you even in the middle of the night, even at the top of the morning. So if you got 20 jobs and 3 side hustles, honey, you still gonna be able to get served and get your best. Woohoo! So reach out to me. My name is Teemaree. I'm your best life coach, and you can find me at teemaree.com or at bestlifecoaching.online. This has been your best podcast, and you got to follow, you got to subscribe, you got to rate the show on Spotify or Apple. Hook us up, help us out so more people can get their best just like you. I see you next episode.